So what kind of sales training is being done at your self-storage facility? I'm Jim Ross. He's Matt VanHorn. And this is 3 Mile Domination, where we talk about anything and everything regarding the world of self-storage. All right, we're back with 3 Mile Domination. It's Jim. What's up, Matt?
How you doing?
Good. Did you have a good day?
Absolutely.
Busy. It's the start of the work week, so it's a good thing.
Yep.
Or rather be busy than being bored. Anyway, let's just go back to what we were talking with before, kind of in this series, with looking for a manager company, what kind of qualifications do they have, what kind of questions to go over, and part of what you want to be asking that manager company is what are their sales techniques when it comes to with the manager, what are they doing for training? Because we can both agree that the manager makes or breaks our property, and if they're not trained correctly and doing what they're supposed to be doing in sales, that's just going to have a detrimental effect on the success of that facility. So sales is just that's the backbone of the property. So you really want to kind of grill them on what kind of sales training is being done for that manager.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that.
And so, like for us, and we'll get into hiring next as far as qualifications when you're hiring for a self-storage manager. But basically, once you have that manager hired, then what? What are you going off from? And I know we both personally like to really start off with phone sales technique. Because again, sales is the backbone of the storage, but the phone is the backbone of sales. You got to have a great sales presentation. So, what are they doing when it comes to sales training for the managers?
Well, I think first we need to realize that our managers are not salespeople. For the most part, I'm not saying, I'm not saying you won't hire somebody. I know, for example, we've hired people in the past that worked in automotive dealerships, which is very competitive, a sales environment. And I think we make the same mistake when it comes to marketing as well. Our managers, they're not marketers either. What we used to do back when I first started in the industry, and Jim, same with you, is the manager would put together a little package. You'd have magnets, pens, or something like that, whatever, and you'd send them out, and they would go and meet, I don't know, say apartment complexes, say realtors, whatever else, which is still an important part of what we do, but there has to be systems set up in order to make that successful. And I don't think the average manager in general is really educated in the way of doing that. And I believe that's the same way in sales as well. I mean, nobody has ever taught them taking it point A to point Z and then getting a lease signed. There's a special procedure for doing that.
Exactly. And we do have the benefit of, in the storage industry at least, that when people are calling us, when they're coming in, they have a need for storage. So it's not like we're trying to talk them into something that the customer doesn't need. So I already put you in a position to succeed. But again, there's those techniques, especially in this competitive market now, that you need to be following and implementing to stand apart from the competition. And that's where sales comes into play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a three-part process nowadays, really. When you start talking about marketing, sales, and then you get into revenue management, which is things we're all going to talk about. And then even customer service and maintenance, we can throw that stuff in there too. But those are the main tenets. And I really think when it comes to sales is you need to have scripts. I mean, you need to be able to train your manager. I know, role playing is a popular thing. I know that in the past still do phone scores. Have people call on the phone and check on how the managers are answering, how it goes. We've used tracking numbers to record it so we can listen. We've used people to go into the site and see what process they're taking through. I think in this case, scripts are necessary. It's nobody, and when you say script, the managers will look like you just killed their cat or something. Nobody likes, because it all of a sudden it feels like, well, I can't use my personality.
Well, yeah, you don't want to sound like a robot, and we're going to go through this in much more detail in other videos here. But on the sales script, when we're saying script, we're not saying you're reading off the lines and you're sounding like a robot. No, but it's the beats that you have to hit and include in each sales presentation. of how it should flow and that you're taking charge of the call. That's what we're alluding to here.
Yeah, I think you need to think about it more and less in terms of a script, more in terms of a guide.
Yeah,
Let's put it that way.
There you go. Yep.
Because we're going to put examples of what to say, but everybody has different inflection, different personality. What we want is for you to cover the material in the order that we're giving it to you. Just because it says a certain phrase this way doesn't necessarily mean. In some cases, it does matter a lot. And in other cases, it's just depending on your personality and how you present it. I don't want you look like you're reading off a teleprompter.
Yeah.
I mean, or something like that. It needs to be something that's easy enough that people can just read through it and internalize it, and then sooner or later you're doing it automatically. And it's different for people on the phone and for people who walk in the office. I mean, the goal of the phone is to get them in the office. If they walk in the office, well, then now the goal is to get them to sign a lease right then, take them out, show them the property, give them a bottle of water, answer all their questions, show the features of the property, and then, tell them what the benefits of those features are to the customers, things like that.
Yep. And we're going to get much more detailed in these videos and examples on these calls as well. But again, if you're in the position of an owner that's looking for a manager company and you want to see how the managers are being trained, well, first is you find out what sites they're managing.
Right.
And mystery shop them. I mean, it's not that hard. Call them, act like a customer, and you'll find out pretty quickly how well their self-storage managers are being trained on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be abundantly clear. So that will save you a lot of headache just doing that. So that'll be a great reflection of if you can call 3 or 4 of their other property managers and see how they're doing on the phone. That's probably going to be a good reflection. Alarm. I have like 18 alarms throughout the day. Keeps me on pace. But anyway, that'll be a good reflection of how that manager company is training their managers. And if you can take it up one more notch, and if they have managed sites that are in your area, most likely they do, otherwise you wouldn't be calling them. Physically go to their sites that they manage and secret shop them in person. Again, it's kind of a whole other thing when there's a phone sales and there's kind of an in-person sales. It's 2 different things. But just doing that will help tremendously in seeing exactly how they are training their managers.
Absolutely. And you're either going to find if they're training or the managers aren't doing it, which you found in the past as well. But you can tell too. You could look over 10 properties, and if you've trained them all the same way, in the correct way, on how to show a unit, how to present it on the phone, not what size do you need, because nobody has any idea what size they want. They just need to know they need to put some stuff in there. What are they storing, things like that. And you can tell, I mean, literally through looking at the numbers at 10 properties, which managers are actively using what you teach them versus the ones that aren't.
Are they being consistent? That's the bottom line. So really, that's the big aspect right there is this phone sales, in-person sales. And then once you have a good idea of how, if they are a good company that way, then you can ask more detailed questions of, well, how are you implementing these sales techniques? Or is it being reinforced, once a quarter? Like, are you doing a role play type thing that we're doing? Are you using tracking numbers? Are you doing secret shopper? What are they doing to, check on those managers that they are in fact being consistent on their sales? So, ask those specific questions. How are they being monitored? Is the bottom line of, and it's not Big Brother, but this is all about just being able to, once a manager, sometimes bad habits kind of creep in on their phone sales, and you want to nip that in the bud and correct it and make sure they're on the right course. Because I found out, we've talked about this, like you just alluded to. A lot of times you make the sales presentation, it's kind of your own. You put your own flair to it. Great. But you don't want to go too far off base. You got to be able to be listening to those. Otherwise, that manager might be turning off a lot more people than they are on renting units. So.
Yeah, this is why you need to constantly watch what your managers are doing. Yeah. I mean, most managers are great. We don't have a problem with them. But then, after a while, and you're on everybody, when they first started a property, we're all excited. And then, complacency sets in, 6 months, 1 year. I typically see it more, I typically see the complacency set in more, like, say, 2 years at a property for one manager who's been there for, say, 2 years. And then things start getting missed. You stop following the script all the way. You don't answer the phone the right way. And, now, you don't file your paperwork, and it goes downhill from there.
You've probably seen I do a series now where I'm calling sites at random and I evaluate their phone calls and do it anonymously and just kind of do these videos of evaluation. Well, I called one that I probably won't record here, but I did it off the cuff, and it's a site that I know that manager's been around for a long time. And like we just talked about complacency. Well, it was about a minute phone call, and it was probably one of the worst phone calls I've heard in a very long time. And this is a manager that's been around for years. Should know better. But it's just because they've been around for a long time doesn't mean that they're doing a great job. You need to be keeping up on this and evaluating those managers.
Yeah, I think, and one of the other things, as I said, I live in Florida, Jim lives in Utah, and I had this thing going on where I was, managing different properties, and I would go and visit competitors in the area, and I had kind of a running thing going to see how many competitors I would have to visit before one of them asked me for my name. And you wouldn't believe this. Everybody listening to this is probably sitting there saying, well, that's common sense. Oh, no, it's not. I think I had the number up to 25.
Oh, my God.
And I think I had reached 18 before someone asked me my name or offered to show me a unit. And then I started the count again after I hit the first one. And then I got all the way up to 25, and I think I've stopped counting now because it's just so pervasive. My goodness, guys, if you're doing I know Jim and I are talking about sales, you have to get on a comfort level with these people, with your potential customers. I know Jim and I are going to do another, podcast here where we go in depth on our scripts and, how we do it and what we're looking at and why we want to take the customer there, why we want to put them on the golf cart and give them a cold bottle of water and, why there's a set procedure to lead them through from point A to point Z to get you to do what you want to do. But my God, I can't believe how many facilities did I walk in where they did not even try to get my name. And that means they didn't try to get my phone number or my email address either. So there's no way to contact me. So I'm just like a ghost in and out, and the owner of those properties have no idea I even came in.
Jeez, it's sad. But again,
it's terrible.
I can attest to that. That's training. Sales training is just lacking.
Well,
we're kind of
granted.
We're waving the flag on this with remodel domination of how important it is, and we're hoping people catch on to this and can learn a thing or two.
I really think that a lot of times, and I talk about stores managers like this, a lot. I think we take for granted what we know. Like what Jim and I know for marketing or sales, or what other people know, say for development or whatever. I think sometimes we take that for granted, so we hire people. And, we kind of go through the training with them, and then we let them off into we let them free. We, open our arms and they fly away, and they're going to run our property. And we don't realize sometimes, and I really believe this 100%, same time when managers talk to customers, they say, what size do you need? They have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my customers I've ever spoken to think they can put a 26-foot U-Haul in a 5x10. They have no idea. They don't have any comprehension of what that is sometimes. So we take for granted the things we do every day and just know, off the bat.
Yep, exactly. And like I said, we're going to go a little much more detail on this in future episodes. Yeah. So let's wrap this up. I think the major takeaway from this is, again, if you're interviewing with a self-storage management company, do your homework. Find out what sites they manage. Secret shop those sites, and then become very apparent what their training regimen is.
Absolutely.
All right, let's wrap it up. I will talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. Go to 3miledomination.com/call and schedule your free 30-minute marketing tune-up call. I'll give you solid advice you can easily implement with or without us. Until next time.